Hawks and highways go hand in hand. Can't help to notice the spirit of this land.
This week, we find ourselves in Portland, Oregon, one of the world's most environmentally conscious cities. Portland does its best to cohabitate with the land and creatures around it. In the northern part of the city lies a school named Chapman Elementary. Chapman is a prime example of how Portlanders do their best to think environmentally, again, both with the land and with the local animal life, particularly the bird we're seeking out today, the Vaux's swift. Measuring in at just over 4 inches long and weighing barely over a half an ounce, the Vaux's swift, or Catura vauxi, is one of the smallest swifts in the Catura family. These guys are so small and fast that, frankly, it makes them a fun challenge to photograph in flight. Generally, they flock in groups of around 30 or more, but here at Chapman Elementary, we find the largest concentration of them in the United States, with their numbers in the tens of thousands. Vaux's swifts are synonymous with Chapman Elementary for a fascinating and breathtaking reason. The swifts migrate through the area in the spring and fall, resting in the old decommissioned chimney here at the back of the school. Joining me today on our swift watching journey is a good friend of mine, Jenny Conlee, pianist and accordionist of the Decemberists. A founding member of the Portland-based Grammy-nominated band, Jenny has become a music legend. She and the Decemberists have 5 top 10 hits under their belt. Jenny and I have been good friends for a while now, and when I asked her to do some bird watching with me, she jumped at the chance. We're meeting here by the school to catch up before the Swifts' amazing show kicks off.
Hey, Freddy! That's so cool that we're here.
Yeah.
It was good. It's good. I took the train.
Oh,
So good to see you. I've always wanted to watch birds with you because I don't know anyone that knows birds as well as you do.
Well, it was fun when I had asked you about it, and we were going to go see the Nighthawks. But I was glad you had ideas. And I'm glad you do what you had.
I only know about 3 birds and the nighthawk.
The Nighthawks, they're not the same family, but they look similar.
But
and
they're
come
bigger.
Out at the same time.
They're like
They eat bugs.
that big
Yeah.
compared to these guys. How big are they in real life, a swift?
4 inches.
Little guy?
Yeah, little.
You brought your guitar.
Yeah.
I brought my accordion. Maybe we can play some jams. Because we have to wait till dusk before the birds come.
Have you seen these? You've been down here before? I know you're
Once before, and it was only like 3 years ago with my friend Ashley Flynn. And the peregrine falcon came out when I was here last time. There's about half the people were like,
people boo it.
boo, half the people were like, woo, so.
Since I was a kid, birds of prey were my main interest in birds.
Your Team Raptor.
Yeah.
I did a spirit animal ceremony at Country Fair like 10 years ago. And my spirit animal came up as red-tailed hawk, so maybe I'm Team Raptor too.
You should be.
Yeah.
Let's be Team Raptor.
Yeah, let's do it.
When people are booing, we'll be like, yeah!
Go, buddy, eat your swift.
On our way to our seats for the Swift Show, we met up with Joe Liebezeit, Avian Conservation Program Manager of the Audubon Society of Portland. He came by to give us a bit of insight into the lives and habits of these fascinating creatures, and a little bit on what the Audubon Society has done to help them and other birds in the area.
Audubon, a big part of our mission is obviously birds, but it's a lot of it's about the habitat and protecting habitat.
Yeah.
As we know, in our world, we're challenged by that, by protecting some of the last great habitat we have, and we're really lucky here in Oregon and in our country and having some amazing wildlife areas, and we want to do the best to protect them. And here with the Swifts, we have a great opportunity not only to help the birds, but it's a great way to connect people living in an urban setting to conservation issues. The bird species that migrates and uses these chimneys to rest in at night is called Vaux's swift. And they're a small bird, they're kind of like a swallow, and they're in that group of neotropical migratory birds I was talking about before. They'll spend their winters down in northern South America or Central America, and then come up here in the spring, breed, and then this time of year, they used to roost in hollowed out big old growth trees. And as we know, with a lot of deforestation, as you were mentioning before, a lot of those trees are gone. And luckily they've been able to adapt to empty human structures like chimneys.
Yep.
And in the case here at Chapman, our organization several decades ago worked with the local community to help preserve it. It was going to be knocked down we helped to preserve it because we knew it was really important for the Vaux swift. And as far as we know, it has the highest number of swifts during the fall migration that come and roost in here. We've counted as many as 12,000 birds in a single night.
Wow.
Going into that chimney, resting, and then the next day they get up and they continue their migration southward. Swifts migrate during the day.
Okay.
Part of the reason is because they're an aerial forager. They eat insects on the wing.
Ooh.
They spend almost their whole life on the wing. They even have sex on the wing. And
That's crazy.
Acrobats.
so they migrate during the day, foraging along the way, and then they congregate at night, and then they'll find places like this to spend the night. Mm-hmm. They need to rest. They need to try to stay away from predators. Next morning at dawn, they'll get up and come out, and they'll continue their migration.
Coming up, Jenny and I have a little jam session, chat about the impact of technology on the modern music industry, and a special guest crashes the Swift party when On the List continues. We're here in Portland, Oregon with Jenny Conlee of the Decemberists at Chapman Elementary, temporary home of the Vaux's Swift on their migration south for the winter. Jenny and I decided this would be a good time to play a song or two as we wait for the Swifts to gather their numbers.
See, I'm super psyched to play your little bird song.
Yeah, let's do it. Maybe we'll inspire these little guys.
I'm seeing some birdies doing their thing right now. Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, for my little kids, my birds.
Your little birds, yeah. The key of D.
Little birds, let me sing for you, sing for me. You added branches to my family tree, and fill me full life.
I wanted to ask you, it's like, you know, I mean, as technology changes, you know, we've seen since you and I have been musicians.
Yeah. I've been through all of the...
I mean, we've seen vinyl tapes, CDs, and, you know, and the dreaded MP3 came, you know, and sadly, Lars Ulrich, who's our spokesperson, ruined the whole movement, but...
I think there's something that's bigger than the medium is the format, so when radio first became a thing, it was all singles, which they would call a record, would be one song, and then the album rock thing became like a bunch of songs, was like the 60s, late 60s, 70s thing. The album, they actually call it album rock, like having a bunch of songs together that become one piece of art. And now it seems like that one piece of art format is changing back into that singles format. Maybe that's part of our attention span.
Well, so yeah, the millennials, maybe it's just the way they absorb music. Like, sadly, they're growing up in an era where they just don't know. Like, you and I used to have to wait. Tuesday, I think, was the day it got released.
Yep.
Go to the record store and get the new, you know, Rolling Stones record or whatever.
And then you listen to that record over and over and over and over and over again. And I think that's why there's a generation of us who all know kind of the same music. Part of it's the radio, and part of it's that we bought those records and listened to them a lot. Like, we know that music intimately. We're now in a singles-based music world.
I know, like Kolobo, you guys are primarily focused on playing live, right? I mean, you were part of
we started our own label. So, and then you could do that then when you actually sold records at shows. So we had our own label, and we sold, I think, out of all 5 of our records, we sold 100,000 of those records, which is a lot of records for an indie label. But then, of course, we had to basically sold all those records at shows, so we would tour a lot.
Brought you to this life we're living, this challenges and nothing's given. If there's anything to fly away with, know my love is true. Little birds, let me sing for you, sing for me. You added branches to family tree, and fill me full of life.
You're not supposed to resolve it.
Oh man, I'm sorry. I'm always resolving stuff. Enough so that
I did it too, though.
little Sue calls it the Jenny resolution because I'm always wanting to go, I can't stand it hanging out there.
So that Grateful Dead model where they didn't care about it, but
Their
they created
records,
a live
right?
thing, and like for the Decemberists, you guys are kind of wanted to probably sell records.
We definitely feel the difference in the growth of the band and how much.
Probably came at right at a time when downloading was saying.
We had a perfect record. We got our record deal with Capitol like 5 records ago. So when we signed for the Crane Wife, we sold records. We were selling CDs, tons of records, and then we got a great record deal because of it. And then it just like plummeted.
Because I thought I vaguely remember reading an article about you guys in particular, because you were this like right on the cusp there, and they were kind of saying how you guys had like a #1 record.
We did.
But your album sales were so much lower, like it was harder to go platinum and like like what people have done.
They have to change those numbers, and like the record that went #1 sold way less than the record before that, and then that one sold less than the one before that.
That's what I was more asking, like, how you like.
It's hard to quantify those numbers now, and it's hard to tell like how good we're doing. I know that the people keep coming to our shows, but the record sales now have like very little to do with how popular their band is or how many tickets you're going to sell at the show, because it's just hard to know because we're not selling the records. I don't even know what people are listening to. Do they want to hear the new stuff or the old stuff? I have no idea.
I guess because everyone's forced to be a live thing. Like you're gonna be like, even like, guys like, Curtis Salgado or Dr. John. It seems like they just have to stay on the road.
There's a thing happening now with saturation of live music. Like a lot more festivals have popped up. A lot more bands are on the road. And I keep hoping that people will always want that experience of seeing people play music live, so we'll always have a job. The band's going to be touring less because we're just getting done with the record cycle, and so you have to be really busy doing soundtrack stuff to make a living doing it.
The correlation I saw with musicians and birds, like these Swifts, had to adapt.
Yeah, we have.
This is a new medium,
Yeah, I mean,
their MP3 CD.
I think so, and they have to go sleep in a chimney instead of an old growth tree, and we're gonna have to make music. Maybe we have to come play music for people that are watching birds. Maybe that's gonna be our new gig. Ooh, we're getting a beautiful sunset tonight with the clouds.
A pink sky.
It's getting pink. It's getting swirly and pink.
Ooh. Whoa. Oh, the hawk.
Oh, where's the hawk?
He's around.
Because they all just spread out.
I bet she's on the backside.
Because they're all.
Check it out.
You wanna go find the hawk?
Yeah. He's probably on the backside of that chimney. When we come back, Jenny and I head around the school to get a better view of the hawk, and we get a little more than we anticipated. We catch the rest of the Swifts' elegant display and head to one of my favorite spots for a nightcap, when On the List continues. We're back in Portland, Oregon at Chapman Elementary with Jenny Conlee of the Decemberists. We're here watching the Vaux's Swifts as they pass through on their way to South America for the winter. As they settled down to rest at night in the old chimney, the Cooper's hawk showed up. We headed around the side of the school to catch a better glimpse of the raptor, betting he'd be looking for a little dinner before the Swifts head in for the night. But it's that style of hawk, the Sipiter hawk.
Are these?
Oh, this is a good view. He's gonna grab one. Huh?
Yeah. I mean, he's not a very big hawk. You don't need too much. You don't need too much swift meat.
He wants a 2-piece. Like Popeyes.
Yeah, he wants a 2-piece.
He's not getting his biscuit.
Oh,
he
yeah.
got one.
Got it.
Right over our heads, the Cooper's hawk ate his dinner, seemingly unaffected by the small crowd gathering beneath to watch.
Still eating it. Oh yeah. I almost feel like he's finishing up.
Yeah, he's right. He's on the side.
That's super cool.
After the hawk finished his dinner, Jenny and I headed back down to our seats to catch the Swifts' grand finale, a beautiful vortex straight into the mouth of the chimney. Once the last few Swifts realized they were at maximum capacity, the rest took off to find another spot to bed down for the night. The show was so spectacular, the audience gave a standing ovation. As the crowd dispersed, Jenny and I decided to grab a drink. A quick drive through town, and we arrived at one of my favorite bars, the Nighthawk. First built in 1931, the Nighthawk provided a unique service to Portlanders. You could bring your car in for an oil and lube while you ate. It changed quite a bit over the decades, but in 1980, they put the focus back on serving quality food and drink. Jenny and I found a quiet spot at the end of the bar to chat a little more about the day, the Swifts and the Decemberists. Cheers, thanks for doing this with me, Jenny.
Thanks for inviting me.
Our original idea was to see the Nighthawks in Fossil.
Well,
So this is the next best thing. Come to the Nighthawks.
second best Nighthawk.
We're a nightcapper.
I went to see the eclipse in Fossil this last, because it was in totality. So we went up to the top of the ridge on the property, and the eclipse happened. You know, it became dark, and all the Nighthawks came out at like 10 in the morning.
Oh yeah, they all got confused.
It was so cool. It was like whoosh, and it was like.
Yeah, I was working, and we were on the river, Columbia, and I saw a couple like sparrows, like, oh my God, what am I doing? You know, they trying to find a place to roost.
Isn't that funny? And like it gets really incredibly quiet, and then when the sun started to come out again, then the birds came out again. It was like, that was probably like one of the most noticeable things about the eclipse was the birds, how they reacted to it.
Is you in the road?
On Saturday, I head up to Canada, to Ottawa, and then to Hamilton, Ontario. I don't know where that is, but it should be cool. I just played Edmonton at the Folk Fest like last month.
They have a lot of festivals there.
They do. People love music, and it's like the summer. They have a summer that's like.
Was it in that grassy area?
You know, there's a ski area in the town of Edmonton, in the city, and the festival, beneath every ski run is a stage, and there's probably 6 stages, and everyone comes out with their blue tarps and puts them down, and I swear the whole city's there.
You guys have a bus in America?
Yeah, we will take 2 buses on a truck.
You went major leagues on me.
I'm sorry, I went Major League on you, and I have
I've been minor leagues all the time, but at least I got a hotel.
You get a hotel
At
room.
least graduate to that.
Well, the problem with the bus is you don't get to be in a hotel very often. We're in a hotel every 5 days or so.
Shower.
And we like at the venue will have a shower usually, and usually it sucks, but like sometimes they can be okay.
Weird.
And you all just take turns in the shower, and sometimes.
You're the only girl. You probably want to have her.
Well, on this tour, luckily, there's 2 gals singing with us, and then we have a woman lighting tech, and a woman that does our VIP events, and so there's 4 women, 5 including me. But you know, you're on the bus, everyone's just like wearing their PJs, and nothing fancy. I mean,
Feet pajamas?
no feet pajamas. So like but like my friend Kelly has these bunny slippers that she wears on the bus, because it's kind of nice to not wear shoes on the bus, because it's our house, and it's like we sleep, like my bunk is like literally on the floor, people's feet walking by, and it's nice to have it be clean and whatnot. It's like camping. I'm like camping for 3 weeks, all on top, layered up 3 high, lots of snoring, lots of farting. It's all good.
This has been a fun night.
It's been an awesome night.
Thank you so much for doing this with me.
It's my first time seeing a, what was that kind of hawk? Cooper's hawk?
Cooper's hawk.
We got to see the Cooper's hawk eat a swift, and then we got to watch it in the tree, chomping it down.
The whole Swift thing, like I said earlier, I'm Team Raptor.
I know you are. I think I'm okay, I'm going to have to speak.
You were starting to flip
I think I'm going, what would you call the opposite of the Raptor? Just like prey?
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just like Team Prey.
Yeah, they are food.
Well, let's do it again sometime, and
yeah, maybe we'll go out to Fossil.
go to Fossil, and next time I text you on tour when I see a bird, I'm going to text it to you, and you got to maybe help me figure out what it is.
Cool. Well, Jenny.
Awesome.
When I asked Jenny if she would be a guest on the show, she was thrilled. She even suggested that we go to her family property in Eastern Oregon to see the Nighthawks. It didn't quite work out that way, but she was equally enthusiastic about our trip to Chapman Elementary to see the Vaux' Swifts. I found it fitting to have Portland native Jenny Conlee as my guest for this expedition. I always hear people talking about what Portland used to be and how much has changed. For me, the Swifts of Chapman and Jenny both embodied the spirit I grew to love when I first moved here 27 years ago. It was a real pleasure catching up with Jenny about her career, getting her insight on the changes she has seen in the business since her days in Colobo compared to what she's seen with the Decembers. I think it's important to know how these changes affect musicians. But just like the music industry climate changes, so does the environmental habitats of our feathered friends.
Hearts and highways go hand in hand. Can't help to notice the spirit of this land.